Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about the fifth, I think, commandment of egoless programming. So let's get into it. So the fifth commandment is treat people who know less than you with respect and patience. And the essence of this is that when you talk with non-technical people or stakeholders, you should treat them as human beings. You should not get into this very dangerous headspace that some people get into, which is the curse of knowledge. Because you know how something works, you start talking to other people as if they should know that too. And some people do this. I have only met like one or two of these developers, and they have a lot of other problems going on as well. Most programmers that I know, honest to God, the only times that they really use technical terms is when they just forget that they're talking with someone who isn't a technical person. Just the other day, actually yesterday, one of my senior coworkers, he was explaining to our PO that, oh well, we are dealing with an integration and they just needed us to send out, we needed to send out a new secret to them so that the integration would continue working. And she kind of just stopped there and asked, oh, I just need you to understand, what secret did you send them? Like, what did you tell them? And like, I understood immediately what the problem was. He used the term secret. She thought it's a business secret, because she doesn't understand like we're talking about what we're talking about. And so I told my coworker just explained, oh no, it's not like a secret, like not a business secret, something for the company. It's just you can think of it as like a password. It's just a password that we need to present to their system so that system knows that we are who we say we are. And then she understood, no problems. And sure, you could have made fun of her for this, but the reality is that why in the world would she know what a secret is or a token or whatever? Like no reasonable person outside of the software developers will know this. And this idea that programmers are elitist and so forth, like we do it to each other in some cases where you have some developers who look down on other developers because of your choice in tooling and so forth. It's just a very destructive behavior, but it gets even extra destructive when you're dealing with external stakeholders, especially those with a little bit of influence. Now, I'm not saying with influence because we're talking about you getting fired for being an elitist. That is definitely something that can happen. If you piss off the wrong person, you might be in a bit of a pickle. But if you have the attitude that other people are dumb, or like non-technical stakeholders are dumb, or they don't have any value to produce, then I would like to remind you that the most successful IT companies are not successful only because they have the best software solutions and so forth. There's so much work and preparation that goes into defining features and dealing with customers and all this stuff. All of this stuff, the remaining parts of the company outside of engineering is taken care of for you. Now, the reason why this is important is one part because they're pulling their weight, just as you are. And if you were to have to do their job also, that you would suck at it, and vice versa. It's just a different set of skills. That's a very healthy way of thinking about it. But one part that goes missing in this is the importance of you having a good relationship with these people that you may or may not think know less than you. The reason why this is so important is because when you get a set of requirements, if there's any reason whatsoever for you and your PO or whoever to not have perfect and egoless and like sustainable communication between the two of you, things will get missed in translation. There are so many really unhappy programmers who deal with really shitty legacy systems because of their inability to communicate effectively with their stakeholders. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. If there's any reason for that the stakeholder goes and says, we need A today, and you build A and then you show them and then they say, well, no, I meant B. you have a problem. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. It may be you who misunderstood, or it may be them who didn't create a clear enough specification. There is a symbiotic relationship here. If you can't communicate effectively, your code will suffer. And I am so sorry to say that you are the poor son of a bitch who's going to have to deal with it, not the stakeholder. They have a different problem. Their problem is that they're going to have to be embarrassed in front of customers and in front of other stakeholders that they've answered to. That's what they're going to deal with. They're going to deal with bugs and problems and so forth. And you're going to have to work extra hours, or you're going to have to create really bad code bases just because you couldn't align on what was supposed to be built. You couldn't communicate effectively. And effective communication starts with that the person with the most amount of knowledge in the area that you're dealing with needs to be able to communicate and like bring things down to a level where the other person feels like they kind of understand what's going on. And being a good teacher or being an effective communicator, this is what this is about. You know that term soft skills we're talking about? This is one of the biggest reasons as to why this is so important in software development, because no matter how good you are at coding, that doesn't matter if you build the wrong thing. If you're not building the right thing, or if there's unclear communication, you will build a masterpiece of crap. So what I want you to take away from this is that this idea of that you need to treat people that know less than you with patience and respect is definitely something that you should keep with you, because it touches on the essence of what will give you good code or bad code, at least from the stakeholder perspective. And that is that if you don't understand what your PO is saying, or your PO doesn't understand what you're saying, or for some reason you can't align on what needs to be done, because you might be hostile towards them and they avoid you, or like you start doing this weird thing that instead of talking to each other like human beings, you start messaging each other back and forth because you don't want to be in the same room. If you get to that sort of relationship, you will see how your code base is just gonna spiral downwards. It's going to get worse and worse, only because you can't communicate effectively with this other person. And if you want to make sure that doesn't happen, you need to be able to understand that you are the expert here. It's your job to try to communicate in a way that makes the other person understand what you're saying. You don't have to educate them and make them programs. You just have to talk to them with respect, answer their questions, and try to lead them through the thought process. Because for better or for worse, they are part of your team, they're part of your company, and they have input that is very important to the success of the code that you are writing. Have a great day.